Hello everybody and welcome to a Q&A session. I just wanted to talk about my experiences in China and just go through some questions that people ask me a lot of the time. Right, so the first question I usually get asked, or people ask me a lot, is am I okay? I am okay. I'm fine. I came back to Shanghai at the beginning of March and there's no problems here at all. They have their systems in place, everything's slowly getting back to normal and I feel very safe here. So don't worry about me, but it's so nice to know that you care. The next question I get is usually people want to know, like, how long have I lived in China? I've lived in China for 3 years. Usually people want to know as well, like, what do I do here? I'm actually a teacher and I teach in one of the international schools here. I found the job by a teaching website which everyone uses. Found the job and they helped arrange all of the like visas and stuff and accommodation for me for when I arrived. So that's what I do. Next question, why did you choose China? So I always like to say, I didn't choose China, China chose me. No, I'm joking. I chose China because it had the best salary and benefits of all the places that I looked. I did apply for a job in Qatar and also Munich. And when it came down to it, it was between here and Munich. But Munich's offer wasn't as good as China's. So I was like, yeah, I've always wanted to live abroad, let's go. So I moved, I moved here. What is life like here in China? What is life like there? Life is great. There's a lot to get used to, and obviously there are good China days and there's bad China days, and I had a culture shock when I came here and I have a culture shock when I go back to the UK most of the time. But it's a very convenient city. There's a lot of things here that just make your life easier. Like, you can get a lot of services for quite cheap. You can go for massage, you can have a cleaner, which is something that people don't really have in the UK, but it's very, very common here. Another thing that I really like is the expat community. So there's a lot of foreigners here and we're all with the same sort of mindset, like, I want to go and experience something different, or I like traveling. You just meet a lot of people. I think the hardest part of moving away was making friends. Usually when you're, I don't know, in your hometown or your home city where you've grown up, you just accumulated friends along the way. But when you move to a completely new city, it's completely different. You have to start from scratch. It's not easy, but at the same time, when you put yourself out of that comfort zone, it's not as bad as you think. Next question. So, somebody asked me, I don't understand how things have gone back to normal so quickly in China. I'm glad it has, but in the UK, I don't see us going back to normal until the end of the year. What has China done that we are yet to do, in your opinion? So, we have to remember that China had a very, very long lockdown. It was 2 months, I think. So let's say 8 weeks of lockdown. And that was a very, very strict lockdown as well. Like, some of my friends told me that they didn't leave their house for the whole entire time. Like, their dad would go out, take out the trash, go to the grocery store or whatever, and they would just stay inside. So it's not really the same as the lockdown that we've seen in the UK and other Western countries. That's the first thing I would say that helped. Now that they're getting back to normal, I would say that the testing that they're doing is really helping the situation. Like, if you enter the country, you have to get tested. When you go through all that process and you have to quarantine, it makes sure that really there's not many people with the virus in general population. It's not gel, but I'm gonna call it that. So it's like you can feel more safe when you go out. Do you get what I mean? The risk is less, basically. They're also implementing health codes. When you go out, you're gonna have like a green, amber or red health code. If you've got green, then you're free to move around, but they still take your temperature everywhere. So I feel like that makes a difference, because if you've got a temperature, they're sending you home. They take your number, they take your details every time you go to like places like the gym, certain restaurants and stuff like that. So if you've got a temperature and you're walking around the city, I'm sorry, they're gonna pick you up fast and they're gonna have to report back on that, and then probably you're gonna be asked to quarantine or go to a fever clinic or something like that. So, next question. I've been seeing all this stuff on how black people are being treated in China. Is there truth to this? Well, I'm in the same situation as all of you guys watching those videos. I've not seen anything firsthand, and I feel that a lot of the stuff is happening in another region of China, like southern part of China. And you have to remember that China is a massive place. What will happen one place might not necessarily happen in another place. It is heartbreaking to see what certain people, black people, are experiencing in certain parts of China, and I really do hope that it's not a widespread thing, because I like to believe that most Chinese people are respectful. I've been treated with a lot of respect most of the time here. Yeah, it's just sad to see, but is it happening? Yes, we are all seeing it. We're seeing it on film, and this is the reality. People are experiencing this, and it's very sad. Somebody asked me off the back of that question, why would you choose to live in a place that is racist? Obviously, I've just told you how I ended up in Shanghai in the first place, and that was for a job opportunity. And I like to think that a lot of racism and prejudice comes from a place of ignorance and misconceptions. And let's say the only representation of black people that they've seen has come from, I don't know, negative images in the media or things that they've heard. And I hope that by me being here, I can be almost a representative of normal black people, to show them that we're not what is necessarily portrayed all the time in the media. And I like to think that it works both ways as well. The same way that we have misconceptions or preconceptions about Chinese people, they have preconceptions about us, and it's a two-way like educational exchange of cultures and just understanding people. Like, it's 2020. We should be able to share our cultures and share who we are with people, and do that respectfully. And that's that. Another question I get is, can I speak the language? I can speak a little bit, enough to get by. I will say that if you're in China and you can't speak the language, it's gonna be difficult for you. So if you are here, try your best to learn the language. The little that I do know, actually I understand more than I can say, to be fair. But the little that I do know has got me along. And I can say things to do with shopping, like leather bag, and cheaper please, or too expensive, enough to like get me the good deals. And it's funny because when you do go to those sort of places where you have to haggle, if you do speak Chinese, you get a better deal, trust me. The last question is, was it hard to adapt to life there? The answer is no. There's so many conveniences in this city that it's hard to say that it's hard to adapt. But as I said, there's good days and bad days, and there are things that I really, really miss about home, and there's things that I wish that I could take from here and bring home. Yeah. But anyway, that is all the questions that I had. Ask me more questions. I know some of you have already reached out to me on Twitter and on Instagram, so please get in contact with me if you want to know anything else. I am happy to answer all your questions, but that's it for now. I'll see you guys in my next vlog.